Has Bitcoin just failed its final chance at rising back up, or are we looking at a dip, which is actually not that bad? The dip is happening right now, and I want to break this down for you guys while it is happening because this market is very, very hot. We were just trading sideways for a couple of days, but slowly trending downwards. And I have to remind you guys, I actually just made a YouTube video exclusively for VIPs, reminding them about the same thing a few hours ago, that this market is still in a bearish pattern, right? We did get small breakouts right here on the 1 hour time frame, for example, but if we zoom out a little bit more, we can see that the 4 hour Ichimoku cloud, which I've been very, very vocal about, has been causing some problems for Bitcoin, and Bitcoin had continued to conform to this descending triangle pattern that I was showing you guys way back over here. That could be a problem for Bitcoin, and it did unfortunately come back into play. And we are seeing that break down right now. So, look, overall, the long-term picture that I've been talking to you guys about, with the picture still being super bullish, the one-day Ichimoku cloud and everything, and I think, all of that stuff is still fully valid. I still think that this trend is very, very healthy in the long term, and I'm not scared about this drop that we have in the short term. However, for the short term, what we've done here is we've managed to fall down to a key area of support, to use it as support and get a big bounce up, and then consolidate and try to break out, not once, but not twice, 3, 4, it was actually 5 times that we had individual, real, spaced out attempts at breaking out of these resistance levels and tackling, I have to remind you guys, the real resistance, because the real resistance, in my opinion, on this YouTube channel that I've been covering for a long time, has always been the $60,000 level, and we still did not even get a chance to test that level. We had 5 rejections, and we're now trending a little bit lower. And so from this short-term perspective, it just doesn't look good in my opinion, right? We've traded in this descending triangle pattern. I showed you guys in previous videos why descending triangles can be so bad. If you missed it, make sure you hit the subscribe button so you don't continue to miss out on these videos. And if you did manage to watch that video when I was warning you guys about how descending triangles are very, very prevalent in the Bitcoin market, do me a favor and smash up the likes right now and drop another comment right here telling me I was here, so I know that you guys were able to actually heed that warning when I was warning you guys that these descending triangles are very common in these markets and they do break down quite a lot. And this is now, in my opinion, pretty much a confirmed breakout, right? We have ended up dropping by about 1.5%, which in itself is not a lot, but the whole pattern is very small. We've only been trading in it for 17 days as opposed to, previously perhaps 6 months. And so, this is quite a small descending triangle as far as they go, and that's why I think that this is quite legit. And obviously, if we drop down by 3%, we're already basically going to be at my target for this descending triangle, which is the $54,000 level. And so that's where I think that Bitcoin could be going to right now. I think that Bitcoin is potentially looking to get another test of that $54,000, $53,000 support area, which is okay. I'm not too worried about that. What I don't like is obviously, typically in a downtrend when Bitcoin sets a low and then it drops back down to that low again after a bounce, usually we're going to sweep that low and trade lower. And then again, we set a low right here, we went up and we swept that low the next time. The very next time when we set a low, we actually managed to get another bounce off it. But then again, when we tested it for the 3rd time, we ended up breaking it, right? And so in a downtrend, the more times we test the low, and right now the low is at $54,000, the more likely it is that we're going to break it. And obviously this is just coming after a bounce. So that's something I don't like. I'm just using normal, healthy analytical skills right here in this market, in my opinion. I'm not trying to do anything super crazy or super out there. This is just telling you that, guys, that in a downtrend, when we set a low and then we rise up and come back down to that low, it usually means that we're about to break it, especially when there's heavy resistance breathing over our heads right now, breathing over our shoulders right now. And if we look at this on the daily time frame as well, we've obviously got that EMA resistance that I was warning you guys about on this YouTube channel as well, potentially causing a little bit of a problem for Bitcoin right here. And you can start to see that, for example, Ethereum finally starting to lose a little bit of ground against Bitcoin, which is completely fine because I got a trade plan for this and I'm very much looking forward to it. Cardano also in a little bit of a move up, but I was warning VIP members again just a few hours ago in that exclusive VIP video that I made about where I think Cardano could be going next, and I actually touched on exactly this happening. So guys, if you're not already in VIP, you're also missing out on exclusive videos where I give you more analysis and insights into the trades I'm making. This YouTube channel is all about analysis. VIP is all about trading. And so the analysis is almost like the chassis of having a beautiful car, but the trading is the engine, and without the trading nothing is happening. You just have to have something nice to look at, but it ain't moving. And that's what I think is an absolutely essential other 50% component of this stuff, which a lot of people don't get right. You can be a good analyst but a bad trader, and I'm trying to help people build themselves into good into people who are good at both. Very, very crucial difference there. And if you want to jump in, it is down in the first link in the description down below, where you can go ahead and check it out. But coming back to the charts here, like I said, potentially coming back down to the $54,000 level. And so one thing I want to revisit is, well, is this level going to hold? And, you know, I think that this support level is really strong. Honestly, I do. You know, usually, like I said, when we come back down to these levels, we are potentially getting ready to sweep them the next time and drop lower. I'm not so sure that that's going to happen. I mean, we can drop as far as 53,000 because I think this is where the support really is. And you know, we could even, if we really want to be cheeky, we can stretch this down to 52 or even 51,000. But realistically, I will struggle to see Bitcoin dropping below that $53,000 level. And so even though this is quite a bad sign for this market, I just don't think that Bitcoin has more room to drop because the support is so strong, right? We got a really, really big bounce off this level. Now, granted, it was obviously just manipulation. It was just to screw people over in the market. It was, you know, high frequency trading action. It was bots. It was algorithms. It wasn't real supply and demand that's shifting, making the market rise. You know, like, this is real price action. It's happening. I mean, it's not happening gradually, but it's not happening just instantly like this pump right here, right? So this is what I would call, you know, much more real price action, and that's why it sticks. This kind of price action, because it's, you know, not necessarily legit, you need to have some really strong follow through to enable the price to continue rising in that direction, and usually we don't get it. And so in this case, it did turn out to be one of those bearish situations again, which is not good because, like I said, the key issue for Bitcoin, in my opinion, has been this $60,000 resistance area, which we haven't even touched, by the way, since some of the last days of November, right? And this is actually since like just 2/3 into November, since the 22nd of November was the last time that we touched this level, which was over 10 days ago now. You know, Bitcoin really struggling to get back up to those resistance levels right now, which to me is quite concerning. But like I said, I do think that this 53K level is going to hold, and so hopefully what I'm expected to see here now is a little bit of a double bottom and then Bitcoin attacking some of these higher levels again. I really don't know how that's going to go, but one of the key things that I want to remind you all about right now is that on these longer term perspectives, because I know a lot of people are going to be losing perspective of this stuff right now, we actually are in a very, very good place. You know, I want to show you the fear and greed index. Obviously, this is yesterday's reading. It's not what we're seeing today, because today it's probably going to drop a little bit more fearful. But generally, people are pretty fearful right now. You know, it's actually been trending down, and that's good considering that the price actually went up. People aren't believing this rally right now, you know, or they weren't believing the rally. It's now pretty much over. But from these longer term perspectives, we're in a really, really good place, guys. This whole region that I've been outlining to you guys is support, right? And I think a lot of people are losing perspective of that right now. I think a lot of people are really going to struggle to see me and where I'm coming from here, which is absolutely great, because you guys can start to see that I started becoming bearish. Okay, actually I started becoming bearish when we were trading in this range just a little bit, warning you guys that these all-time highs are not subsequently higher, you know, significantly higher than the previous ones. And so I was telling you guys to just watch out for this. It looks like we could be losing momentum. Kept on warning you guys about it on the way up, although I did turn bullish at the end, so I actually got faked out. But on the way back down, quickly went back to being a little bit more bearish and warning you guys about a big drop actually just coming off around over here. But now I'm starting to switch my perspective, and this is in stark contrast to the rest of the market, where people really, everyone in their bloody grandmas were extremely bullish in these markets at that time. But now we are starting to see that sentiment shift where, you know, people are turning a little bit more bearish as we're at the bottom of the range, and I'm actually trying to turn a little bit more bullish right now, because we have this huge range of support with this green box that I was showing you. We also have this falling wedge pattern, which we managed to get a breakout from. And take a look at what's happening after that breakout, ladies and gents. This is really, really big in my opinion. This is not something that I just want to ignore and brush off lightly, right? Bitcoin managed to get a fairly nice breakout above this rising wedge right here, and if we measure it, we're managing to pump up by about 4%, which is pretty decent. That's definitely a confirmed breakout. And then we come back down to test it as support, and testing it as support potentially again. So, you know, usually I only want to see one back test and then off to the moon. We're now up to our second back test, which is not good. That doesn't indicate that Bitcoin is particularly strong, but it still means that we're above resistance, and it still means that we can use this as support, which I think is really, really good. And again, this aligns with the one-day Ichimoku cloud, which I have been showing you guys quite a bit on this YouTube channel as well. So this isn't something that I think that we should be losing sight of right now. It definitely does potentially indicate that Bitcoin could still be in a pretty good position from these longer term perspectives, and especially as that fear and greed index is now really consistently starting to show us that people are quite fearful in this market. That's where I have to start, you know, raising my alarm bells and becoming a little bit more cautious. I want to be a little bit more greedy while others are fearful, and I want to be a little bit more fearful when others are greedy, to quote Warren Buffett, who, as we know, is one of the best, greatest investors of the present day, of humans that are alive right now. So definitely something to keep in mind, I think, in these markets at the moment, because a lot of people are starting to lose track of that. And now I also want to talk about what happens if that 54k level fails, because I did tell you guys that I don't think that $54,000 or $53,000 of support is going to fail. But if it does, what's going to happen? Well, I think that if Bitcoin does fall below 53 or 54, like I said, it's hopefully going to be having a little bit more support around the $52,000 level around here, and maybe even 51, which would be absolutely great. If we fail that, I think that's when things could get really, really ugly, but we still have a lot of Ichimoku support, so we can really be dropping as low as kind of the low $40,000 ranges as well before we kind of run out of support. And that's purely just because we've had such a, good bull run in terms of, having a very healthy correction right here, that this market has a lot of bad things it can do, and it can still stay long-term bullish, right? The weekly chart, for example, still pretty bullish. And so I don't think that that picture is going to change super easily. And then on the flip side, well, what happens if we actually recover this? If we recover this, we're in the same position as before, which is we're largely in an equilibrium, right? If we enter this range again, all I need to see is that this $60,000 level fails. If the market is able to push above this level and we're able to rise above 60k, I'm going to be super happy about it. I'm going to be super, super bullish. But unless that happens, we are still under quite a lot of resistance, in my opinion. And I just want to remind you guys again that it's not like this resistance is weak, right? I mean, there's pretty strong resistance right here. If we look at this on the Ichimoku cloud, it's a very, very wide cloud. It stretches all the way from $56,000 all the way up to 61,000. This is a bloody big area of resistance that this market has been facing, which is why I don't think it's any coincidence that we didn't even manage to break up into this cloud so far. Which is again the same warnings I was giving you guys. A lot of people were starting to become a little bit more bullish on this pump right here, but I was saying, guys, we still have resistance. Yes, we did have a good sign. Don't get me wrong. Don't misunderstand me here. We still had a good breakout on those small time frames. We've had a really, really big move, a really important move. But when we start to zoom out just a little bit more, we look at this midterm trend again, we're still not in a good place. And I think that's very important to keep in mind. Again, when we keep zooming out even more, we're still bullish, right? Long term, we're still bullish. And we look at the 4-hour chart right now, we're trending down. What's the RSI doing? Our relative strength is showing us that we're gaining strength in the market. So we still have the early warning signs that this market should be getting ready to rise up. But just in terms of price action, it's not looking good. And so the key thing that I think Bitcoin is going to have to face if it manages to rise back up is more resistance. Do I think that we're crashing all the way down to 40k and 30k? No. Is it possible? Of course, yes, it's possible. I don't think that's going to happen. The key thing that I want to see right now is how Bitcoin can manage to rise back up to these resistance levels, and if it can break them. As long as we can get above the 60k level, I think Bitcoin is going to have a very easy time rising up back to those all-time highs. There is still resistance between 60k and the all-time high, but I just don't think that it's too much resistance. I think that it's definitely something that Bitcoin is going to be able to handle if it can overcome this initial hurdle. For now, we're starting to get some hot flash sales in the altcoin market, and this is something that I really want to be focusing my attention on, and that's all going to be going inside of ForFly's VIP. So if you missed our sale where we were running a minus 68% discount, it's gone, but you're still getting a beautiful price for the value that you're getting inside of VIP. Most people who jump inside are going to be getting our ForFly's Academy courses, which is going to teach you everything that I know about trading and analysis from A to Z. You're going to be getting it for free with the with VIP. Most people who join are going to be getting it for free, which is absolutely amazing. And of course, a whole wealth of other knowledge and resources as well. So definitely check it out with the first link in the description. I'm very, very hot on this market right now. Very, very interested to see what can happen. And I also potentially have a Bitcoin trade that I'm ready to make, because like I said at the beginning of this video, I just made a VIP video where I was outlining 4 trades that I wanted to take inside of this market, and 2 of them were Bitcoin trades, and 1 of them looks very possible right now. So I am strongly considering taking it. Anyway, I'll see you all on the other side. I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you have, you know what to do. Hit up the like, subscribe, tick the bell, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye bye.